It wasn't because I was better. It was just because I was exposed to more events and trainings. I had more experience in the business.
Sure.
If you want to learn martial arts, you can't learn martial arts from a yellow belt.
Okay.
You have to have someone that's really good at that to become good. You need a good teacher. Review and renew. That means I always go through my goal list. And I always renew. Every few months, I renew. I add or I change, but I'm always on the goal list. Started developing a negative opinion about Herbalife before even knowing what Herbalife was, just because of the behavior of distributors. Because if we don't have enough of leaders training the thousands and thousands and thousands of associates, after some years, the training system, the education of Herbalife will start to deplete. It'll start going down.
Hello and welcome back to our new episode today on Make Your Mark. Thank you everybody for joining us again. I hope you are liking the episode series that we are trying to bring in for you. And today, what do I say? We have one of the most what do I say? Not even famous. I would say it's just too small word for him, but one of the legendary leaders that we have in India. We'll look at his story today. Lot of tips. It's going to be a tsunami of information coming to you today. And what I tell him, I admire him a lot. The kind of dedication that he has, the kind of effort that he has taken for India business. He has seen all the struggles, ups and downs in the last 25 years of our India history. So it's going to be a big pleasure for me, and it's going to be a super hit episode today. Let me welcome our international executive president's team, 15K, Mr. David Solomon.
Thank
Sir,
you.
thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining us
Thank
today.
you for inviting me. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir.
you.
Hey, it's going to be a great time, sir, spending with you. And
Thank you.
I've known you for about 4 years, which I'm 4 years old in Herbalife. But so we wanted to understand a few things from you. I would like to start from what is your background as such.
Okay.
One point that I want to make here is that we have heard your story, but there will be a lot of people who have not heard your story. They are hearing it for the first time. Something that you want to really mention today, which you have not mentioned till now.
Okay.
Something which is like read between the lines, or something that you said, oh, this is very important to me.
Okay.
Anything in your whole journey before you joined Herbalife that you want to mention today?
Actually, first of all, I was born in India. I was born in
Wow.
Mumbai.
That's see. Now
yeah.
I don't know that.
So many people don't know that, but I was born in India, born in Mumbai.
Right.
Actually, when I was 4 months old, my parents immigrated to Israel.
Okay.
They decided to come to Israel.
Yeah.
And I grew up in Israel. The challenge for me was that my family in general are very educated Indian family.
Sure.
And I was never a good student in school since a young age. But I loved martial arts. So I entered into martial arts since I think when I was 9 years old. And for more than 20 years, I was in martial arts. Not a good student in school, but a very good student in martial arts. Very difficult at home. And I remember myself growing up, always I had those dreams and goals that I want to live a better life. I want to have some kind of financial freedom. I want to travel. You know, I used to think about these things. So when I was in martial arts, when I became a teacher, one of my biggest goals was to become a successful martial art teacher. That was the biggest goal, because if I become successful, it's something I love to do.
Yeah.
I mean, that's getting both worlds together.
Yeah.
Also success and also loving
Well,
it.
yes, true.
But after 20 years, I was actually struggling financially. I was in debts because of my martial art club. And I had to give up martial arts, actually, after 20 years in that field.
Oh.
And I started doing all these horrible jobs, physical jobs. Not being an educated guy, most of my jobs were outside, right in the field.
Yeah.
And I accepted it. I did it for all those years. And I thought that this is going to be my future.
Sure.
But I always looked for something else. I looked for, maybe I can do this, maybe I can do that. And nothing really happened. And I started working 18 hours a day, 6 days a week. And I did it for almost 6 years.
Wow.
And, you know, when you work that hard in life and you accept it, you don't think about dreams and about goals.
You don't have time for that.
Exactly. So, you know, so it's just about another hour of sleep.
Sure.
And so that was where I come from. And the way I was introduced to Herbalife is something I think most people don't really know. I mean, they know that I was introduced to Herbalife because of a button.
Yeah, we
right?
know that.
But the actual story is a bit different, because I was actually looking for Herbalife.
Wow.
because I was working, one of my jobs was working in a supermarket in one of the biggest chains in Israel. And I started as working in the freezers. I used to work in the freezers, minus 25 degrees, minus 20 degrees, these big coats on me. I used to work for hours there. It was really difficult. But again, I accepted it. And then after 2 years, I moved up to a senior management level in that same branch.
Sure.
But senior management in a supermarket means you're just the heavy lifter.
Yeah.
You're not
More
managing anyone.
responsibilities given.
Exactly. More responsibility, picking up all the boxes.
Yeah.
And that's what I used to do. And at that time, I was really getting fed up. I wanted something else. So I approached the only people that I was in touch with was the workers in that supermarket. And I was asking around, do you know anything I can work in, something extra I can do to make that extra few thousands? And one of the cashier ladies told me there is a company called Herbalife where you can work in flexible hours. There is no boss. You can do whatever you want, like the timings you choose, and you can make great incomes, even part-time. And no special qualification. So that's a huge advantage. I said, okay, I'm interested. I mean, I was willing to do all these jobs. I don't mind trying something else.
Sure.
So I asked, so how do I go to this company? Where is the company, where is the office? How do I get an interview? She said, no, you can't join the company through the company. You have to find Herbalife distributors.
Distributor. Yeah.
I said, okay, where are they? Where are they sitting? No, they're not sitting anywhere. They walk around with the lose weight now buttons. What you need to do is find someone
that
with a
button.
lose weight now button. And
Yeah.
only through them you can join the company. So that was my first decision. How I'm going to find Herbalife is look
For the
Herb-
buttons.
Yeah, exactly. That was the mission.
See, so just sorry to cut you there on the thought process, but this is where the importance of that button comes in, and why the leadership keeps on repeating, say, where the
Exactly.
button, where the button. So this is where you never know whom you are attracting with that button.
Exactly.
So please
So,
continue.
so in the so what I did was in the supermarket, I just requested all the workers, especially the cashiers who are in the front of the supermarket, if they see anyone walking into the supermarket with a button, to call me. They call me in that speaker thing, and so the minute you see that, and a week later, I got my first call to the front. I came to the front of the store, and they just told me, this lady just walked in. She has a lose weight now button. She's next to the fruit counter. So I went up to her, and I came from behind and said, excuse me, ma'am, can I just ask you about this button you're wearing? And when she turned around, I noticed that she had the button of lose weight now, but she was very overweight, right?
Okay.
She was very overweight, which is fine. But I asked her, I wanted to know more about this company and the business because I'm interested to make some extra income. And she said, oh, that's great. This company is the best products in the world. You can get amazing results. And I said, wow, that's great. How long are you in the company? And she said, I'm more than 1 year. I said, oh, wow. And how much have you lost? And she said, you know what? I've lost and I've gained, and I've lost again and I've gained. I'm not that serious about the products. At the minute she said, I'm not that serious about the products, that's something that it was like a warning sign for me.
So it's a red flag.
Exactly, a red flag. Because if she's going to teach me how to do this business and she says that she's not serious, this is not someone I want to learn from.
Absolutely.
I'll tell you, it related to my martial art days.
Yeah.
Because, if you want to learn martial arts, you can't learn martial arts from a yellow belt.
Okay.
You have to have someone that's really good at that to become good. You need a good teacher.
Absolutely.
And when she was talking about not being serious, I said, oh, thank you so much. I was very polite. She gave me a business card. I said, thanks. And I left, and I just threw the card. I was not going to call her, for sure. That was my first interaction. And then around 10 days later, I got a second call to the front. And I came to the front of the store, and they said, listen, this guy just walked in. He has a lose weight now button. I went in the store looking for him. And when I was coming closer to him, I noticed he was looking a bit like he just ran from somewhere. His hair was all standing up. His shirt half was out. He was sweating. His button was open. And when I came closer, I could smell that he just must have had lunch, right?
Okay.
And he started speaking to me, and he said, oh, amazing company. And he promoted the business, of course. And then he stood a bit closer to me, and he said, if you decide to join the company, we're going to work very close together. And I'm thinking, I don't know if I want to work that close with a person that has this kind of fragrance, doesn't take care of himself. It was a turnoff for me to talk about joining a company where you're going to learn from someone who can't take care of themselves. So that was another, like you said, a red flag for me that this is not someone I want to work with.
True.
And I said, thank you so much. And I just left it. And the funny part was I started developing a negative opinion about Herbalife before even knowing what Herbalife was. just because of the behavior of distributors,
Distributors. Yeah.
right? And I started thinking about, is this something I should continue looking for? And then about a week later, again, they call. David, please come to the front of the store. And I come, and I'm not that excited anymore because I don't know what to expect.
Yeah, because you had a prejudice or bias towards, because you
Exactly.
met a couple of people who are not up to the walk the
Exactly.
talk kind of
Because she
person.
was saying it's an international company, and so I
Yeah.
was having all these great
Imaginary
expectations.
things and
Exactly.
so, yeah.
So I came and I met the third person. He was a young guy, looking good, dressed well, tie, wearing nice sunglasses. Everything was good. He was wearing some perfume. You could see he's taking care of himself. Nice. Everything looked good. The Herbalife button. And I approached him. I said, "Excuse me, I want to know more about the button." And I was excited because I met someone that seemed to be serious. But the challenge was, but the minute I asked for information, he could not stop talking. He started bombarding me with information about the opportunity and telling me all the facts of the company and this. And I was in the middle of work, so I couldn't talk for too long.
Yeah, true.
He was not sensitive to my situation. He was only thinking about what he wants to say.
Sometimes in the excitement or the overexcitement, you bombard a lot of information which is not required.
Exactly. He was getting carried away.
Yeah.
So I was very polite, of course, at least the first time. And I said, "Listen, I'm sorry, I'm in the middle of work. Why don't you give me your business card? I'll get in touch with you later. You give me more information." He said, "No, if you are serious, you will listen. Because this business is only for serious people." So the minute he changed his tone, I didn't feel comfortable. And I said, "You know what? I'm not interested." And while I was walking away, he was still following me, talking about the opportunity. So I had to turn, give a firm look, and say, "I'm not interested. Please stop." And then I walked in, and I decided I don't want anything to do with this opportunity.
Wow.
That was after three people that I approached.
Three attempts.
Exactly. So I decided, and I had told the people at the front, if you see anyone with the button, please do not call me.
Oh, wow.
Right.
So
and I've not forgotten about it, but I stopped thinking or getting excited about what if.
Yeah.
Right. And then a week later, I got a call and she said, "Listen, David, come to the front." And she said, "Listen, another lady walked in." I said, "I told you I don't want to talk to these guys anymore." He said, "No, you go and I know her personally. She's great. Go approach her, ask her." And she became my sponsor in the company because when I came to her, the first thing that I got was a big smile, right? And she was listening. She didn't start talking nothing. And very politely, she said, "If you're interested, and sure, we can talk about it. I know you are now at work. Why don't you get a pen and paper, and I will give you the details.
Wow.
Where we can meet and where I can show you the opportunity and products." And that's how it started.
So I have taken some few things and noted down here as well. So certain things that you mentioned. First, I would like to ask you that when you mentioned that you were in martial arts and you were progressing in martial arts, and then you had your own studio where you were teaching. That teachings that you had in martial arts, because I understand it's physical and mental both in martial arts. How does that years that you have put in martial arts still helping you? Anything that you want to mention that this is so kind of say, I would say that kind of discipline that you have towards your own body, towards your own health, I think that was instilled or been put into you when you were doing your martial arts, because you had that discipline then as well. So carrying forward till now, till date, you are the most fittest leadership that
Thank
we
you.
have
Doing my
in
best.
India. So what are the other things that you have carried forward from your martial art days?
You mentioned discipline.
Yes.
Well, this I learned in my martial art days. Discipline is doing something you don't feel like doing it, but still doing it because you know it's the right thing to do.
True.
So even today, when I go for workouts or I go to exercise or practice, not always I feel like doing it. I don't feel like doing it. Actually, most of the times I don't feel like doing it because it's easier to stay in the
Say
house,
no,
just have a snack or watch TV or just get on the call. I mean, it's easier, it's more comfortable.
True.
But because it's become a habit, I always win. It's like I'm two types of people thinking. One is saying, "Stay at home, don't go," and the other one is saying, "No, you have to go to the gym. You have to do your workout." So that kind of discipline is something that is helping me not only in the business but in life in general.
Sure.
It's become so many of my habits are thanks to that kind of discipline.
Sure. So one thing that you mentioned is that you were you rejected 3 proposals that came to you for the business because of various other things, but one common thing was the kind of appearance that they had
Yeah.
and the approach that they had towards the business. One was overexcited.
Yes.
The other was like, maybe you want to join, you join, or else it's okay. Or the first one, the lady was little overweight. So these are all so-called, as we said, that these are the red flags from your experience over last 25 years, what are, if I have to, or you have to put it, say, priority wise, that these are the three four things as a leader, even before you enter into a Herbalife thing, as a business proposal, what are the couple of things that you as a leader you need to have kept in mind, because this is not a short term race, it's going to be a lifelong race, and
Yeah.
you're going to leave a legacy towards your future generation as well. According to you, if you have to just pin down, say, Jay, I think these three things are the most important things.
Yeah.
What will be that be?
See, to be very direct about it, the first thing that I saw that attracted me to the business that has affected so many things in my career was when I came to my sponsor's home for my first presentation. She showed me a video of the company. At that time, it was a VHS cassette,
Yeah.
right? In those
Yes.
machines, those big ones.
Yeah.
And she put an extravaganza video of '93 in Barcelona.
Okay.
And I saw Mark Hughes on stage. And Mark Hughes, who was already very successful at that time, came up on stage looking great. And the way he was talking and promoting and presenting and talking about the future, I didn't know anything about the company yet. I just came to my first presentation.
So
That was the first thing that got me. I said, I want to be part of a company where the owner, the
looks like this.
looks like this and talks like this, because
Yeah.
I've never seen anyone like that. If it's a boss or anyone from any company I've worked before that behaves and looks like that and makes sure that they represent what they're talking about.
Exactly.
You know, they actually walk the talk.
Walk the talk. Yes, I was just mentioning.
So that's something that stayed with me, because I never really made an effort to dress well before I joined the company because of my jobs. Because it was either martial arts or I had the martial art uniform.
The
And
kind of coat that you
yes,
wear.
exactly. And my jobs was all physical. Everything was toned jeans, toned T-shirt, never shaved.
Yeah.
And I did it because I didn't have to make any effort. But that was something I would love to change. I would love to be able to dress well, look good, make an effort.
True.
So that was the first thing that got me. So in leadership, when I think about it, I always try to think, what would the person that I'm going to talk to want to see in me? How would they like me to be when I'm talking to them? How would they want me to look, smell, smile, listen? And that's what I always try to do my best.
Yeah, and you are at the best thing that I ever seen. The most professionally dressed person. I'm sure you're still working on your body till
I
date.
do my best. Yes.
And obviously, nutrition is part of our
Of
daily
course.
lives. Absolutely.
Of course.
So over the years, David said, because you have a vast experience of 25 years, what are the things that you think that has never changed in Herbalife? And what are the things that you think that has changed, but for the good of the business?
Things that have never changed, of course, are going to be always the basics, right? The three keys of success. This will never change. I was very fortunate that I was, in front of Mark Hughes for many times in trainings. I had even qualified for a photo opportunity, but I found a Mark Hughes and a dinner and a Q&A session with Mark Hughes and trainings like extravaganzas, World Team Schools. And Mark always spoke about the keys of success, which that is the foundation. Doesn't matter what DMO comes, doesn't matter what tools people will use, no matter what happens to technology, how advanced we get, right? The three keys of success will never change. That will never change. Second thing that will never change, customers will always be the most important part of the business.
Sure.
Our customer service, customer results, the entire business is built on customers.
Yeah.
So that will never change, of course.
True.
And things that have changed for the better, of course, with technology today, we can reach everywhere and anywhere. We have no limits.
Yeah.
That's the beauty of the business, because we used to talk about international business at that time, but
That's it.
international business at that time was to make an international call was too expensive.
Too expensive,
right? To
yeah.
receive or to make. And to go and develop a business in another country, you have to spend so much money on flights, on hotels. So only someone who's already successful could do it.
Yeah.
But today, a brand new associate can recruit internationally.
Yeah.
They can introduce, they can train, they can do everything with technology.
Technology is available.
So for people who are serious about the business, taking advantage of technology and what is happening today is huge advantage.
Yeah.
Big advantage.
Something that you see in last 25 years or even in recent years, top of your mind, that you think, few things that you think that, oh, I think this can be avoided or this should not happen. We keep on seeing with the new people who are also coming into the business, negativity is somehow I keep on saying that this is a kind of a stigma attached to the business, and I'm sure you have dealt with it
Of
as well.
course.
uh, it requires a lot of matured thinking and a mind where how to avoid negativity. I've heard from other leadership who has been trained under you on how you had the formula of, or how you had dealt with negativity when somebody come to you saying that, sir, I have a an article which has come
Mm,
against Herbalife, or I have a video which has come. You had that unique way of dealing with it. You
yeah.
would want to tell our audience today.
Sure. I mean, anything good or bad, if you talk about it, expands,
True.
right? Even if you talk about it to one person, if it's a positive thing, so it's positive, it'll expand. More people will know about it. But if it's a negative thing, right, and you talk about it, even to your sponsor, even to your friend, to your spouse, it's
Hmm.
going to expand because that person is going to say it to someone else,
True.
right? And it's gonna multiply. It'll grow. And unfortunately, unnecessary negativity spreads, especially when it's not true.
Yeah.
Because
True.
we know the facts of the business, we know the facts of the company, we know the facts of the products,
Yeah.
right? The
Sure.
company like Herbalife, we know exactly what is right. And when anything negative comes out in the newspaper or on
Hmm.
social media, or someone says something, I mean, as long as we are sticking to the facts of the company, it should not really affect us.
True.
The best way to deal with it is just to ignore.
Hmm.
It's one of the best ways I've found. If you ignore it, it'll go away, it'll disappear.
Hmm.
If you indulge in it and you ask about it and you show it to other people, it'll just expand,
Sure. Sure.
right?
No, this formula is also not applicable only for the business, but also in our personal
Of
lives,
course.
because you have to create a kind of a fort around you where you
Exactly.
are protecting your family, your friends, your business partners now in Herbalife. So a lot of things do come in, and it is definitely going to come. And I've heard a lot of other stories from other leadership as well, that even from the family per se, when they decided to join the company, the first ones to say no or to create a barrier were their own parents or a sibling saying that, "Arey, what are you doing?"
Exactly. Same with me. Yeah.
So I'm sure you have also dealt with it. So did you had this kind of attitude right from the beginning because of your training and because of the exposures that you got, and initially some hard work and hard life that you have gone through? Does that come automatically with experience, or you have somebody who is very newbie, somebody who was born with a silver spoon, for example, how he deals with negativity is quite different from what others would do because it's a trial and error basis.
Mm.
A lot of other
Right.
people have learned from their errors,
Right.
but for me it has always been that if not experienced by me, I'll learn from the leadership like you, because you have larger experience than me,
Yeah.
saying these are the things to be avoided. So do you think here in this whole pattern or equation, your sponsor or your mentor, whoever is, how important his role is towards building the organization?
Well, first, I'll just say one thing about negativity. For example,
Sure.
when I started the business, in my first 2.5 years, I was really bad in dealing with negativity.
Yeah.
Coming from my background of martial arts, I still had that in my mind. If someone tries to attack me, I attack back,
Yeah.
right? I never stay on the defense only. I'll attack back. So even if it's verbal,
Hmm.
even someone close to me in my family would say something wrong about Herbalife, I would straight away get into attack mode. I would take it personally, which was a big mistake. Big
Okay.
mistake because you lose potential customers for the future like that when you argue with people,
Oh.
when you try to attack someone back or you say something wrong. Because most people who are negative in such a way about the products, the business, whatever it is,
Hmm.
it's not because they are negative or they are bad people. They're just ignorant about it.
Sure.
They don't really know the facts.
Hmm.
They don't really know what the company is all about, what the products are all about.
Hmm. Hmm.
So the one of the ways to reflect what they feel or what they think is negativity. Oh,
Hmm.
I don't believe. Oh, I've heard this, right?
Yeah.
So the best way to deal with it is just to accept it. And if we have stubborn family members like I've had, the best thing is just to respect them, love them, and not talk about the business until they're ready. And not
Hmm.
talk about the products until they're ready. Until they approach you
Hmm. Hmm.
because they know I'm in the business. I've
Yeah.
spoken to them about it. They have whatever opinion. I just
Hmm.
let them be. Every time I meet with them, I talk to them about everything else besides the opportunity and the products.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's how some of them approached
Yeah.
and became supervisors and became customers and everything.
So, looking from outside, when from a corporate angle, when we look at the business, how aggressive or how defensive? Since you mentioned that you became very aggressive when somebody talks about what you're doing, Herbalife is not that great, because we feel so passionate about the business. It tends to, because it's very
But that's
natural.
how I was in the beginning. Then I stopped. I learned.
So
Attending trainings, I changed.
yeah, so that is where I was trying to get the discussion to. So what made you change? Either your experience with a lot of negativity and you thought that I'm going nowhere, it's hurting my business and it's hurting my peace thing also, or there were a lot of trainings which happened, or you listen to the greats, Mark Hughes and Jim Rohns of the world, and then you said, oh yeah, these guys are never talking about negative about things. They have a special, kind of a wind cheater that they have there to avoid these things. So what was the process, or what was the trigger point that you
Actually, it
had?
was both the things you said, because
Mm,
it also happened because I couldn't see the results from what was happening. I was wasting too much time in trying to convince people that what they're saying is wrong and what I'm saying is right.
right.
And there were no real positive results. So that's the first thing that happened. I learned. It took time,
Mhm.
but I learned this is going nowhere. I'm just going to argue with people, and it
Yeah.
makes me feel bad, makes them feel bad, and there is no positive result.
Mm.
And the second thing, which is also very important, if not more important, are the trainings. Being exposed to the right trainings, right speakers, you hear people's stories,
True.
and you find out, wow, everyone gets negativity.
Yeah.
It's not just me.
Yeah.
Sometimes when something negative happens, right, you're thinking it's happening only to me. That's what I thought in the beginning. But when you attend the trainings and you realize even very successful people had the same kind of negativity, same challenges, same doubts.
So, and I've always been reading about leadership and some books that we keep on reading, and I've seen that a lot of successful business industrialists also, like big names that we have in India, they, after achieving so much in their lives for India, for the economy, still there will be some one blip or a chink in the armor somewhere, and the negativity will flow in. But they also have, as you rightly said, they have created their own armor, saying that I am protected, because they believe that what they are doing is the right thing that they want to do.
Exactly.
So that is one big important thing that everybody wants to learn. That I understand that a lot of things are happening now with the company, with the surrounding things. We tend to not to even entertain these things.
Exactly.
But I'm sure a lot of people do ask. It's very difficult to keep on putting that brave face, but we know that things are coming us to us. So a lot of trainings and a lot of mentorship will be required when you're looking at
Yeah.
these things. So any tips that you want to give, David sir, when we are looking at a newbie leadership, or even in an experienced leadership, how do we keep abreast about the things that we want to do? Because it's I am sure that leadership is a journey.
Exactly.
It's long, and I'm sure even after so many years working in the leadership position, you still are working towards discovering something new in the leadership. Some small nuances here and there, you keep on finer adjustments. So if I have to start today, what advice you will give us on where do I start preparing myself for the leadership?
Well, like you said, it's a process. Leadership is a process. But I've said this before because I've heard this before many times in trainings that developing leadership skills and qualities is completely a different topic, a different subject than what you do in actual business,
Okay.
than your daily activities. It's a different subject that you want to work on.
Mm-hmm.
I've been doing it for years because I learned from Mark Hughes. I learned from Jim Rohn that if you work just on your job, you just work on your business, one day that business is going to stop growing, and it might even go down because you didn't develop yourself. So for me, since I was a world team, I think I started focusing on reading, focusing on making sure I don't miss any trainings. I focused on doing self-teaching in personal development, in leadership. That was one of the things that I got in my first world team school, I remember, with Mark Hughes.
Wow.
He said, work harder on yourself than you do on your business. That was one of the first sentences I ever heard from him. And that's something I took seriously. Many people today, and I understand with the momentum, with the growth that is happening in India and around the world, we are so excited with what's happening, but we don't realize that if we don't develop the side of leadership in us, we will never be able to mentor the next group of leaders that will come after us.
Sure.
And somewhere along the line, it's going to stop because there will not be anyone that will be mentoring anymore. That excitement cannot duplicate.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
Excitement is temporary. What is permanent is the right mentoring, the right
Yes.
leadership skills and
Absolutely.
qualities.
Agree.
If no one is giving that, this generation, next generation, there's going to be a challenge in duplicating and growth.
Sure, sure.
So for me, even when I was a world team, before I even had a group, before even I had a team, I understood from Mark that I have to make sure I'm working on improving myself every single day. And that's what I'm doing.
So even today, and we are lucky enough to still have a lot of videos and audios from our founder Mark Hughes and also from Jim Ron. So in fact, we also keep on relating to that, because when we want to talk to our leadership, these are the things these are the philosophies that you have been, or you, this is the foundation of our leadership. So they keep on relating back to there. So I have seen that it is kind of a philosophy book kind of a thing, that whenever you get stuck, you open that book or the chapters that you have written somewhere in the
Exactly.
training or pointers, and you refer saying that, okay, this is what it is. So somewhere I feel that since I mentioned it's a process, it is also kind of reiterating or reconfirming yourself that, yeah, this is what the right thing that I'm doing and I'm on the right path.
Exactly.
But sometimes it does happen, and it is very natural for a human being that when you get fame and you get the financial rewards this opportunity has, uh, it is it's a promise, it's not a guarantee, the kind of words that even Madhvi has used it. So you will get this fame, and I'm sure you have seen people growing under you. Some have even gone beyond
Right.
your expectations, saying that, oh wow, this person
Amazing.
is there.
Yes.
You didn't even imagine. But there are certain things where, how do you keep a sane mind, what do you teach the leadership, saying that you have to be grounded? I'm not demeaning anybody, or I am completely respecting the pin and the financial or the fame that you have. You should enjoy, definitely, it is the right, and that is
Exactly.
what you worked for all your
Exactly.
life. But what is the boundaries that you can keep there, and how much you can enjoy at the same time? How do you make yourself balanced person, saying, okay, this is not the end, I have to work more? So how do you create that balance?
Well, for me again, it starts from Mark Hughes. For me, everything starts because when I started the business, for me, he was my mentor. Even though it wasn't personal, but I saw him as the mentor. Everything I learned in the business was directly from him. Even today, I listen to his recordings and videos on a daily basis.
Yeah.
So whatever Mark used to say at that time, we used to talk about being humble. It's not just him talking. I used to see how he used to behave. He was already so successful, already so rich, right, as the founder of Herbalife, but he behaved like he was one of every single person in the room.
Right.
And another thing is, I loved how he used to never use the words mine,
Mine.
my business,
It's
my
not
team,
it, me,
never.
myself. It's never
It's
that.
always
Our
our
business.
organization, our team. So he never made himself the star, which was a huge advantage. The biggest advantage is people feel that they have the same rights in the business like the founder.
True.
Because he never said, this is my organization, this is my team, this is my business. He always said, our organization, our company. These are words he always used. And I learned that, and I use it until today.
Yeah.
I've never said on stage, my organization, my team.
So it's just a subtle thing, no, like mine or something. But sometimes we even ignore that. But that's so profound and so impactful that it leaves a lot of impact on the audience who is hearing.
Exactly.
So this is a big
Because
example.
my team means they belong to me. They do not belong to me.
So there is a sense of pride, or maybe a little bit of ego also here. It is mine, mera hai
But my
types.
sponsor can say the same. My sponsor says, no, they're my team.
Yeah.
And her sponsor can say, no, they're my team.
Yeah.
And my downlines can say, no, that team is my team. There's no
Sure.
such thing.
Yeah.
It's our team.
It's our team.
Then there is no challenge for anyone. Now, when that is clear, now no one has this extra focus on themselves. Because, we've heard this from our founder and we know it. The star of this business are the products.
Yeah. Yeah.
I always remind myself, if I was not in this company, where would I be in life?
Yeah.
What did I do before, and where would I be today, 25, 28 years later? Where would I be today if not Herbalife? I always
If you
think
just
about
have to, be put into your mind that you would have to draw a picture.
Exactly.
Sometimes it's a little scary, saying that, oh my God, I could have been there.
That is a scary thought, actually,
That is a
very
scary.
scary. But I remind myself. So when I, get invited to be a guest speaker in a training,
Yeah.
a few years back, I was guest speaker in other countries,
True.
and it's very easy to get carried away when
Yeah.
you're flown business class
Mm.
to the other side of the world, and
Yeah.
you are training people you've never met before, and you get all that recognition. It's very, very easy to get carried away with that fame.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's why I love sharing my story, because it doesn't just share my story, it reminds me where I come from. Who that person that now is standing up on stage with these diamonds on the pin really is by background.
Background.
And
Yeah.
that reminds me to be humble, to be
Yeah.
not to overtake that spot on myself.
Yeah. So one thing that you mentioned is that in all this journey, the personal story is always kind of a speed breaker. Where you remind yourself from where you have come from. So that is where you become more humble towards other people and other people's
Yeah.
problem as well.
True.
So the biggest other thing that you have been teaching, and I've been hearing you as well, is the art of the storytelling. How do you even say a story? So I can be very blunt, I can be practical, but how do I have a proper equation of ingredients of all things where I need to put my point forward, but I need to be emotional at the same time? How do I relate to a certain person where he thinks, this story belongs to me also, I am also like this? So you have been teaching this for so long, so we want certain tips on how do we tell our stories.
Well, the first thing is, starting from the basics is reading. I love to read. I read a lot. And in many of the books, especially leadership books, management books, personal development books, they have a lot of stories there. That's the first thing. So they talk about, how to tell the story. They talk about it in these books. So I read a lot. I love reading. Second thing is in trainings, I watch the leaders. I watch the chairman club members, the founder circle on stage. When they tell a story, with the way they share. And of course, back to our founder, Mark Hughes.
Yeah,
He
that's
was the best
the
storyteller.
best story you can
So
have.
body language is tone
Yeah.
of voice. And
Yeah.
it doesn't happen once. It happens year after year.
Yeah.
By the way, when I joined this business, my first 1 year in the business, my first year, I never came up on stage to give my testimonial. I had stage fright.
Oh,
I never came up on stage to share, and I was earning, and I got great results with the products, with my stamina and recovery time from workout, but I never shared it. 1 year, I used to hide in the seat. I used to sink myself in the seat so no one calls me up on stage.
can you imagine David sir having a stage fright?
It's true. I was scared to death. I said, I'll do anything in this business, but I'm not going to go on stage.
Please avoid.
Yeah. But the trainings changed. It changed me.
Yeah. So in these many years, apart from that, what you mentioned is obviously Mark Hughes and Jim Rohns of the world. So we keep on going back to them for all the knowledge that they have given us. Is there anybody else in your journey who think that this particular person had inspired me a lot?
Oh.
Or maybe somebody who was with you, standing with you when things were not that great?
See, I love and respect my sponsor, Ita. She is amazing, right? When I joined the business, she was a supervisor or a world team. I think she was a world team. I was her only downline, and from what I know today, I'm still the only one, right? And she was amazing, but she was also new. She was not really into the business. She had a great customer base, but she was not looking to grow and build a team. And her sponsor at that time was living in another country, so I never really had any coaching or mentoring. I had to not only self-teach, but when I used to attend trainings, I used to choose mentors. I used to choose someone to guide me. I used to just lock onto someone, a get team or a millionaire team, and just nag them with questions, and that's how I mentored myself. But growing in the business from that point, besides Mark Hughes, along the way, I started meeting and getting exposed as I grew in the business to some amazing leaders in the business, like Michael Cole, who is one of the legends of Herbalife, Alan Lorenz,
Yeah.
right, Founder Circle, Leon Weisbein. I've been very, very fortunate with Alan Lorenz and Leon Weisbein. Leon Weisbein living in Israel has been an amazing, amazing impact on my business, because even though I didn't interact with him on a daily or weekly or even monthly basis, once in a few months, but anything I would ever ask for, a question, a doubt, some help, an online training for the team, he never said no.
Yeah.
So that kind of leadership, even though I'm not in his group, he has nothing to gain from me. But that kind of leadership in the company, that's what makes this company so special. So people like that. Another person is Israel Klein. Israel Klein is one of the sponsors of Leon Weisbein. And he was someone that I really, really loved listening to because I could relate to him. He was a very direct guy. I don't know if today, if he was with us, he's no longer, but if he was with us and he would come up on stage, many people would be in shock the way he speaks. Very direct.
Okay.
But I loved it, because of my background, I loved the way he
maybe.
spoke. He said, listen, you want to become successful, this is what you need to do. There's nothing else.
Yeah.
And that was it, and so big impact on my life.
So no running around the bush. This is what you
Yeah.
have to do. Put the effort.
Exactly.
You'll get-
No babysitting, no nothing, just direct.
So one thought keeps on coming to me, and I want to know it from you. I tend to ask you, but then this is a right forum that I can ask you. As a person, you have been born and brought up in Israel. What was the state of your mind when you thought that, okay, I have understood the business, I'll go into an uncharted territory, come to India, though you were born here, so it's your own country, but then you made it your own in these many years.
Okay.
I'm sure when you came in, there would be a lot of resistance that you got because of the mentality or the value system that you have or we have here.
Yeah.
You could have now understood saying that, okay, you still been treated at that point in time, sure, you were treated as a foreigner.
Yes.
How do I trust that fellow? He's coming from another country, speaks a language, or even in English, which is little with the accent.
Of course.
I don't relate to him. With all this going around, and you find your own path, with successful path, I am sure a lot of hurdles and a lot of things have come into your way. But what I want to understand is that your mental preparation that you had. Did you feel dejected at times? Did you feel that, oh, I've taken a wrong decision? How did you come out of all this? This is what I wanted to understand.
First of all, I need 3 hours to answer that question. I'm telling you, this is.
Oh, this is big.
But I'll make it short. But this is a great question, but it's a real serious process. Actually, before coming to India, I left to other countries. That means I went to other countries to try and do the Herbalife business as a world team member.
Okay.
As a world team, because again, I didn't have the right coaching, so I took decisions on the way I thought.
Yeah.
So when I was a world team, I think in my end of the second year or middle of the second year, I decided to go and work in another country. I went to Greece for a few months, and I worked in Greece, right? And after a few months, I was broke, no money left. I had to come back. Nothing much happened. I came back, started working back in Israel, and then after a few months, I decided to go to Italy and develop the business in Italy, and as a world team. And I lived in Milan for 6 months. Lost all the money I saved because not much happened. The language barrier again.
Yeah.
Everyone speaks Italian there. I came back again, a few months. And then a few months later, I traveled to Thailand. I was already a global expansion team. I qualified in Israel, and I traveled to Thailand. And I lived in Bangkok for 6-7 months and developed the business. A bit of business developed, something happened, but not that much. And again, all money gone. Again, no right coaching.
Yeah.
I never knew that if you want to transfer yourself to another country, you want to work in another country, you need to make that country your home.
Yes, absolutely.
You can't just jump to a new location, be there for some time, and come back and expect growth
to happen there.
without sponsoring, without
So-
it doesn't work. But I didn't know this, so I took these decisions, and I did this in 6 different countries.
Wow.
And the last country was US. Actually, I went and I lived in Florida, which is at that time the best country to do the business before
Absolutely.
India, of course.
Absolutely.
But I went to one of the least expanding places in US, which was Florida,
Okay.
which was a retirement area where people, I used to come by a small car and people would come with luxury cars to the meetings. Most of them were earning much more than I was earning, and I was doing a presentation about joining the Herbalife
Joining the
business. So that was a challenge. I lived there for about a year,
Mm-hmm.
and I came back again completely broke, and I said, that's it. I'm not going anywhere else in the world. I'm going to build my business in Israel. And that's it, finished. And then there was a big event, and Mark Hughes came up on stage, and he said, one day we're going to launch Herbalife in India. And when that happens, one day that country will be the number one country in the world. And I was in the room as a global expansion team member. I said,
Okay.
wow, India, but I will not go to India. I've decided not to go. And and then, a few months later, the company announced India is starting with
Opening
Herbalife.
up. Yeah.
And I didn't even think. You asked, what did you think?
Yeah.
I didn't think. It was just a decision made like spontaneously. I said, I'm going. That's it. I'm taking my stuff. I'm folding. Everyone in my family was in shock. They said, listen, after trying so many countries, you're going now to India. It will not happen. And they were giving me all these opinions, but I had already made up my mind. Because I decided to become successful in this business before I really saw any success. It was decided already. So I had no choice. I had to do anything it takes. So coming to India with all the difficulties and challenges that I knew I'm going to face, I didn't know how much
Yeah.
I'm going to face, which was much more than I expected.
Yeah.
But knowing that, because I already decided to become successful. So I took my things, and I remember landing in Mumbai, and this is like 25 years ago.
Yeah.
I landed in October 99, just before the opening. And I was in shock. Of course, Mumbai at that time was not the Mumbai that is today.
Absolutely.
It was completely different. And not speaking Hindi or Marathi or any local language, not having any friends or family.
Big challenge.
And of course, with all those, hopping to one country or to another, no money left. I had no savings. Even to come to India, I had to borrow money from the bank to come to India. And that's how I started the business. But I knew I can't go back. I can't go back with creating some kind of results. So it was work, like 24/7. It was just focusing on the business.
So, sir, you have been into so many countries, and you kept on mentioning that you been into some 6 different countries, and you came back. A lot of learnings from that countries as well, because I always think that the failures will teach you more than the successes. But then eventually, after all these things, you decided to come to India because you heard Marcus saying that India is
Exactly.
going to open up. What was the thought process? And I want to understand that when you landed in Mumbai, what was going through your mind and how did you adapt? Because I understand we had a certain values here as an Indian. You grew up with different values,
Exactly.
and then you've been treated as a foreigner. Kaun hai ye, speaks in a different English accent that he
Yeah.
has and all that.
Yeah.
So how did you deal with it? Any experience that you want to share there?
The first thing is, before I came to India, I was very fortunate again to have met Michael Cole, one of my uplines. And Michael Cole, he prepared me for challenges. He told me, because he had experience in working in other countries,
Okay.
and a lot of people in his group worked in other countries. So he prepared me. They're going to be challenges. He didn't know exactly the challenges, but he said, you're going to be facing challenges. You be ready. Culture challenges, money challenges, how to communicate with people, different cultures. So be ready. You don't have family and friends. You don't have anyone to rely on or to lean on there. So be ready. So that was a big advantage because I came prepared mentally. Even though it was a huge shock, culture shock when I landed in Mumbai.
Yeah.
Even though I was born in India, but when I was a baby, my parents immigrated, so I didn't really grow up in India, so I was not ready for that. But because I was prepared for challenges, I was prepared for difficulties, and at the same time, like I said, I already decided to become successful no matter what happens, no matter what it takes, as long as it takes. So that made it a bit easier for me to deal with challenges because I was expecting it. I'm going to become successful, so I have to go through it.
Yeah.
And the biggest shock was, of course, the language, but how to communicate with people and, what to say to people and how to talk about the business in India was a big challenge in the beginning.
Yeah,
That was the biggest
I can
challenge.
just imagine we going in some international waters and in some international country. We understand the language issue. We don't even know how to greet people. That's the first thing.
Exactly.
And in some countries they do only namaste. Some countries they shake their hands. Some they don't even just bow down. So the whole value system is changed. So I'm just in awe of things, and I wanted to understand what was working here. One right thing that you said, that you had already decided
Yes.
here that you
Yes.
are already a successful person. You are the best leadership and all that. So visualization of that whole thing kept on repeating in your head.
Yeah.
So the difficulties came in. Do you think that you are too immune to it because somewhere you are at a higher thing saying that, oh, I have decided
It's
greater
because
things?
Is because like I said, I was prepared for it, and I expected that there's going to be challenges and difficulties. So if I want to become successful, I will have to go through it. I was ready for it. Plus, again, Mark Hughes used to talk about challenges. He used to talk about difficulties. He used to talk about the company's challenges, what they went through a few times
Yes.
in the business. So
Yes.
the company overtook that. It made it happen, and they grew and became successful. So me as an individual, at that time as a global expansion team member, who was not really successful at that time, even as a global expansion team. So it was not just the culture. I was not also financially successful. So all that together was a big challenge, but it still went smoothly for me because I was mentally prepared.
Sure. So how did you tackle the language barrier? So have you learned Hindi?
Yeah, not really. I mean, just here and there, a few words I can understand.
Yeah.
Especially if someone is speaking about Herbalife in Hindi, then I'll get it. I'll understand.
You relate to
I
it.
just need one word in English and I connect everything. But I never really made the effort, and it's my fault actually. But how I started was I looked for people who spoke English. That's what I did. Because in the beginning, at that time, of course, no mobile phone, right?
Yeah,
No
yeah,
technology. So
yeah.
we used to do those leaflets. So I had to do 3 times the number of leaflets to get the results of a local distributor to get the same results. Like he would
Sure.
do 1,000, I would have to do 3,000.
Yeah,
Because 8 out of 10 calls that I would get would not speak English,
Yeah.
especially in the areas that I gave the leaflet.
Sure.
But I accepted it because I wanted to become successful. I didn't give myself a limit. I'm only going to do this much. No, I was willing to do anything
Anything.
because I wanted to achieve that success. So
In these many years, sir, any Indian food which is your most favorite?
I love biryani.
Okay.
I love biryani. I mean, biryani is one of my favorite. Or sira, which is
Yeah.
soji or sira. I mean, that's another favorite dish of mine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you have developed that taste of
Yeah.
Indian food.
The only challenge I have is when I came to India, like I said, I came on a low budget. Was on a very low budget. So I couldn't eat good quality food. And I used to eat a lot of spicy food. I used to eat spicy food abroad.
Yeah.
And I came to India, I just continued eating spicy food, but not good quality.
Yeah.
And then with the years, I stopped eating spice. I couldn't take it anymore.
Yeah.
So today I'm in India, which no one really believes outside of India, my friends and family. I live in India, but I cannot eat spicy food. So after all those years in India, I can't eat spice anymore. So
In these many years, you have kept on adapting.
Yep.
And what we know and what we hear is a lot of challenges. So for current leadership also, when they're looking at the challenges that they have, be it on a personal level, be it on the organization level. So anything that you want to tell us today on the adaptability or how flexible you need to be as a leader, because I think somewhere that was the most important character that a leader should have, on the adaptability and flexibility. uh, is there any kind of equation or a tip that you have for the leadership today?
again, like I said before, I heard this from Mark. He said, always be a better listener than a talker. So because we deal with so many types of people and so many different types of situation, number one, we have to be open-minded. We can't be closed-minded for certain things. Even though we know something in the business and then something new comes or some new ideas, we have to be open-minded. We work with certain type of people and then we attract a different type of people into our business. And we need to be able to communicate with them as well. So
Yeah.
being open-minded is a very crucial thing. And again, like, I'm going to mention this throughout the interview, is that reading is a very, very important part of being able to build a successful business in Herbalife, not just for a certain amount of time, but for lifelong.
Lifelong.
For creating leaders, because that's what we want. We want to
True.
create leaders in this
Yeah,
business.
yeah, absolutely. And I also personally think that reading has helped me a lot in certain difficult times in my life, and not only English books. And I would like to tell my audience as well that there are a lot of other vernacular books also available. Please go out there, and I think now you have a lot of softwares which you can read on your mobile. You can
Exactly.
read on your tablet, computers. So please go out there and read as much books as you want, because that's the kind of ocean of knowledge that is available.
I never used to read, by the way, before I joined this company. Never. And both my parents were bookworms. They used to read books like one after the other. And then I came to my first extravaganza. And Mr. Jim Rohn came up on stage. And he said, leaders are readers. And leaders make most of the money in Herbalife. So I connected. If I want to become a leader who makes most of the money, I have to become a reader.
Yeah.
And he recommended this first book, and that was the first book I bought.
So that's how it
And that's
started.
how it started. Yeah.
So I also heard that, and from my own grapevine, that you are a big fan of the superheroes and superwomen
Yeah,
as
I'm a
well.
big fan.
I'm also a big fan of the all the superheroes. It fascinates me
Yeah.
because it's something that, the kind of power that they have, or the kind of things that you can do with their things. Any
Yeah.
favorite character you have?
Actually, Batman is my favorite.
Batman.
Batman is my actually since I was a kid, I loved the comic books and the movies and the figures, but I could never afford. My parents couldn't afford to have these figures. But today I have a huge collection in my new house that I'm building right now. So I have a full section in my office that is only for my figure collection.
Yeah, you still collect?
Yeah, of course, from all over the world.
Yeah,
I bring
wherever
these
you travel.
I bring from all over the world. It's not easy because there are a few shops, a few stores that sell these very high-end quality figures. It's not something for kids.
Yeah, not to
It's
play around.
no. It's
It's
very high
for
end. Yeah, luxury figures.
luxury
It
figures.
looks so real, you would never know it. If you look a picture, you'll think it's the real deal. So I'm a big fan of that as well.
Yeah, I used to collect a lot of replicas, small replicas of cars also earlier.
Yeah.
It's a lot fascinating with all supercars, Aston
Okay.
Martins of the world and all that. But superheroes, yes, obviously later in the college days when we got exposed. Earlier it was all, when I remember when I was a kid, there was a character called He-Man. And I used to be in awe of him because of his personality, the body that he had. His one sword he could take out,
Yeah.
change the world.
One of the reasons I also feel so good about being part of Herbalife is because I'm not saying we are superheroes, but our business is helping people.
Yeah.
Superheroes is all about helping people,
Exactly.
helping
So,
others.
exactly.
This is, I think, even subconscious mind. One of the reasons I joined this business was when my sponsor said we make money by helping people get results on the products and get results in the business.
Yeah.
So that's something that clicked for me. Wow, I can help people.
Yeah. So,
That's-
and
that's a
in
good
fact,
thing.
I relate to it very well because in one of our tap teams in the regional meeting also, we had a theme of superheroes and the corporate meeting. So we had merged these two.
Okay.
So I always feel that the kind of superpowers that our distributors has,
Yes.
it is no less than what a
Of
superhero
course,
can do.
Of course.
They are also changing world in a different type. We are also changing worlds,
Yeah.
and that is the whole tagline that we keep.
Exactly.
We change the world. Kind of results that we are giving, transformations in life changing.
Life changing. Exactly.
With body, with money, financial status, but the kind of person that brings out with
Exactly.
the whole experience. I'm in awe of that. I have seen
Yeah,
whatever
I've seen
test.
people who joined the business, the way of thinking was so simple, just about survival.
Yeah.
And today they are, international trainers, travel the world. I mean,
Yeah.
that personality changes.
Changes.
Amazing.
That is the most beautiful part of the whole journey that I
Exactly.
always see. So, with all this different interests that you have, sir, reading books and collecting these superheroes, how do you balance, sir? Because I have seen you so busy, and I'm sure your calendar is choco blocked. How do you manage your professional life and your personal life?
Okay.
And merging between the two, or maybe compartmentalizing
Okay.
these two? How do you have this
So
thing?
I love that question, first of all. And the reason I love it because I don't have any type of balancing between personal and my professional life because Herbalife is a major part of my life. It's always been a major part. So, I might go out for a dinner, a romantic dinner with my wife, and we'll end up talking about the business in the romantic dinner. I mean, because both of us are doing the business together. So we don't have any separation between the business. When I was an employee, it was 9 to 5 job, let's say a basic job.
Yeah.
And then when you come home, you don't think about the job anymore. You think about
It's like
something
a
else.
switch on and switch off.
Yeah, the switch never goes off. It's on all the time because even when I'm doing anything personal, I'm reading or I'm working out or I'm traveling or I'm in a party or with friends, somehow
You land up
the
discussing
business
about this.
because it's something we love.
Yeah.
If something that you love to do, why would you want to shut it off any time of the day?
Yeah, true.
Yeah. So the balance is, to give time to family, to give times to hobbies. Yes, but we never shut off the business. We never shut it off.
Yeah.
Never.
So I've seen a lot of other leadership as well. I've seen you also that though you are on a personal vacation somewhere, you're traveling or somewhere, but then, as you rightly said, the underlying thought process is every time something related to Herbalife, the philosophy of Herbalife. So
Yeah,
even when you're enjoying vacation, you always show gratitude towards the opportunity that you
exactly.
got, because this is where you are enjoying all the beautiful things in your
If
life.
not Herbalife, no chance. I couldn't do everything that I'm doing now.
Yeah,
There's no chance.
there's a big thing, and when we look at people, enjoying what they have got, uh, with so much of hard work and so much of dedication over the years, and still with the same passion. So that one question that I also wanted to ask you is that sometimes it happens to us, when
Mm.
you are, if I'm working on a project,
Yeah.
I'm passionate about the project and I'm putting all my heart out. Once I'm achieved that project or I achieve that thing, maybe the result that I was expecting, then we have a habit of switching off, saying that okay, this is over now,
Yeah.
next.
Yeah.
But for the distributors, it is never the next, because it's the only
Exactly.
thing that you do. But at the same time, over the years, you have maintained that passion, maintained that energy, maintained that what do you call, the fire that you have.
Mm.
How have you done that? Because it gives me also a lot of inspiration when you're looking at something which, there's a prolonged thing. It's not a
Mm.
couple of years,
Yeah.
10 years,
Yeah.
but it's for decades. How do you do that, sir?
It's called review and renew goals. That's what I've been doing. I
Okay.
learned this, in trainings.
Hmm.
Review and renew. That means I always go through my goals, my goal list,
Mm-hmm.
and I always renew. Every few months, I renew. I
Okay.
add or I change, but I'm
Hmm.
always on the goal list. A second thing that I do, I don't know how many people know this, that or they do this, is I have a dream board. A dream board, an
Okay.
actual huge board that I have on my wall in the
Mm-hmm.
office,
Mm-hmm.
and I've cut out pictures
Hmm.
of things that I want to achieve, things
Hmm.
I want to own, places I want to go,
Right.
people I want to give,
Hmm.
help, so everything is on the board,
Hmm.
and it has dates next to everything. The date that I want to achieve this, the date I want to do this,
Hmm.
and I change it all the time. When I reach something, I remove and I put something new. So
Hmm.
it's always in front of me. So whenever I'm sitting, even on a Zoom call, taking calls, doing a training, the board is right in front of me.
Hmm.
So it
Hmm.
keeps me motivated. See, I'm a guy, you talked about the figures. I'm a
Hmm.
big luxury car fan,
Yeah.
big one,
I
since I
know.
was a kid, right? Even when I was working hard, one of the main reasons why I was working those 18 hours a day in those jobs
Hmm.
was because, not because I wanted financial freedom. That was not the reason. The reason was I wanted to buy a nice car. That was my dream, because no one in my family ever had good cars.
Hmm.
At that time, especially, to have a car with an AC was a
Oh.
big deal. To
Oh.
have a car where you press a button and the window goes down automatically and not using that manual thing, it's a big deal. So for me at that time, I was thinking I want to save enough money so
Hmm.
one day I can buy a new car. It's not a luxury car, that was not even in my thoughts, but
Hmm.
a good car that feels great,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? And that followed me for years.
Hmm.
And today, of course, I'm a big fan of luxury cars. And so for me, even though I've been driving great cars all these last few years,
Yeah.
there is so much more I want to achieve and have.
Yeah.
So if you see my dream board, there are a lot of things I want to do
Hmm.
and achieve and reach. But if you look properly, there will be more pictures of cars that I want to have in the future than anything else.
Yeah.
It's a big drive for me.
Yeah.
So even though I love driving good cars,
Hmm.
but that is for me a big deal. That keeps me because I know if I reach my next level of income, next level in the marketing plan, now I can afford that one.
That
Then
one.
I can
That's
afford
it.
that one, right? So that's a big push for me.
So, whoever is listening today and whoever is watching today, a big thing that David sir is giving us today is about creating your own vision board, or a dream board that he popularly calls as.
Yep.
And that helps in
A
visualizing,
lot.
reminding yourself that what you're working for.
Yep.
So I always say that it works like the maps that we use now to reach a destination. So it calculates, the algorithm calculates the time and the speed that you are trying to go. So the direction and the speed, then it calculates how much time you will reach.
Exactly.
So somewhere I think these vision boards, these things, because you rightly said, and you absolutely are doing it with the time period.
Mm.
So I can have a dream of, say, owning a big house, for example, but if I'm not putting a time there, then maybe the speed of work that I need to do defines that day period. So
Exactly.
putting the date to that goal is also very, very, very important.
Very important. By the way, another thing that I do with this dream board is, especially with cars and homes, like many people have that as a goal, is I still do, but less now, but I used to do this a lot, especially as a global expansion team, even as a world team. I used to visit luxury car showrooms. I used to go to these showrooms. I used to dress well so no one throws me out. I used to dress well, come inside the showroom,
Yeah.
public transportation, of course.
Yeah.
But I used to come dressed well, looking good, and I used to sit in the cars.
Just to
Just the
feel the
feel, the smell of
experience.
the leather,
Yeah.
just imagining if I work hard enough, if I
This
just
is what I get.
continue,
Yeah.
doesn't matter what challenges I'm going through, one day I will be able to walk into a showroom like this and book a car like this. And I used to do this on a weekly basis. And I used to go to different showrooms, different brands.
Yeah.
I still do it, but less, because the brands I want, you can't find them in every city. But I still go and do it. And the same thing with homes. Because when I came to India, I lived in Mumbai, not in a very good place, to be very honest. I can't even say 1 BHK. It wasn't even a BHK. It was something so weird. But that was everything I could afford. But I still went, whenever I saw new societies, I used to go to the sample home. They used to have sample home. I used to go in and say, if I work hard enough, if I'm consistent, I manage all the challenges, one day I'll be able to live like this. Right? And this is something I recommend everyone to do, especially if you're building your business now and you want your family's support. Take them. Take them to sample homes in nice societies and say, if you let me do this business seriously, you give me your support, you don't need to help me, just support me.
Support me.
One day, it'll take 2 years, 5 years, 10 years. One day we will live in a place like this. And many times you see the kids get excited because the kids, oh, this is going to be my room, and this is going to be my room. Right?
Yeah,
And the
they
wife or
start
the
also-
husband, they choose whatever part of the house they want to have.
Yeah.
And that starts, you're teaching your family to have guided imagination, to start imagining what is possible if you just keep going in this kind of a business, this kind of an opportunity. And this really helps.
I'm sure it helps. It helps me also. I also am a big fan of visualization. I keep on imagining things, or even if before I want to do something, I repeat in my mind the things.
Exactly.
I keep on repeating. So today also, when I was driving now, I was keep on repeating on how do I talk to David sir, how do I manage myself and all that. So I'm a big fan of visualization also.
Yes.
But somewhere I also feel, sir, is that when in the decades that you came
Yeah.
in the 90s or even in the 80s, and we keep on hearing there from my parents also that dreaming big at that generation, especially with the millennials and the above, the baby boomers, was supposed to be a taboo at that point. So you're not supposed to be dreaming big.
Yeah.
Now with the new generation coming in with Generation Z and all that, so
Yes.
we have seen these people are all used to it
Exactly.
because the earlier generation has given them something which now they take it for granted. So I'm sure when you came in, or with your experience, at least I'll say mine is that having a phone, even a landline at home was a luxury.
Of course.
Having a color television was a luxury. Air condition, we were never even thinking of.
No chance.
Never. And we had this small scooter. I remember it was Bajaj Chetak or something like that. So that was a luxury for me.
Yeah.
Nobody had a scooter in my whole society, and I was the one driving, my father and all that. So that time, dreaming big was. I consider that it was
Yeah.
still a problem. Saying people who ridicule you, saying that, "Hey,
Yeah.
what are you doing?
Yeah.
Why are you thinking?" Plus the double whammy of the business that we have. So when you showed opportunity to people, I'm sure you also faced a lot of hurdles and a lot of rejections. That
Yeah.
so you rightly mentioned that was a imagination that you had in your mind, because that was a fixation that I want to become a successful leader. But when you are developing your team,
Yeah.
and because a lot of our listeners today are also developing their own team.
Yes.
So what do you teach them to how to go and approach? Now is it easier than earlier?
Yes.
And I give
much
all
easier.
credit to all the leadership who have worked in harder times.
Yes.
Created the path for the new generation to come in. So it's much easier now.
So many results in the marketplace.
Yes, so many testimonies coming in,
The
results
brand
of
ambassadors.
brand
Yeah.
ambassadors,
Yeah.
a lot of other support functions that you have.
Yes.
Plus the product range.
Of course.
You have worked with very limited
Yeah,
products.
3 products we started with. Yeah. Yeah.
So it was a bigger challenge. So anything that you want to tell us that these are the challenging times, these are the good times, but what are leadership with the organization that they have? What should they expect out of the organization challenges that they have? Because it's people management at the end of
Yeah.
the day.
Yeah.
And you have dealt with it very successfully. Any people management skill that you want to give us?
One of the main things that I always do my best to teach and to show people is being the best example that we can be. We want to be the example of what we want to see in our team. Whatever you expect or want to see in your team, we have to do our best. We can't talk to our group and tell them, listen, you need to use the products correctly and you have a small punch. That's not the right way to promote it. Or you are not that active in the business. You're asking your group to do something that you are not yourself doing.
Sure.
You're not that committed. The attitude level. So being the best example, I think, is one of the most important parts of leadership. Even for a supervisor or a welding to build a team, ourselves being an example, number one criteria to build a successful organization.
So, David sir, one thing that keeps on when we are interacting with a lot of leadership, the newbies, they
Yeah.
are super excited. Sir, हम ये कर लेंगे, वो कर लेंगे, and they want to conquer the world immediately. The success rate that they're expecting, sometimes they do get it
Yeah.
with the speed and the effort and the dedication that they have. Sometimes with all the things that you want to do and they do, but then there are certain things that the expectations or the expected success they don't get. So in the long term business, because this we always say that it's a long term business and
Yeah.
business for life, actually, not
Exactly.
even long term. We have gone beyond generations now with the business. So how do you advise these young bees, new people coming in, on what they're supposed to do, because they're doing too many things. Now I take my example only, or so for example, if I'm stuck with say technology, a new
Okay.
mobile phone or something, my kid who is only 11 years old, he knows much better than me. Plus the multitasking things that they
Yeah.
do. I personally believe that I can't do too much of multitasking.
Yeah.
I am one project, one person. I have to finish one thing and then I go to the next. Because I see this new generation, they're talking to you simultaneously, updating their Facebook
Yeah.
or Twitter or somewhere, and they are also listening, they're talking.
Yes.
Too many things. So the bundle of energy that they have, how to really channelize with this opportunity? So any advice that you want to give for the newbies or the organization who has a lot of Generation Z in the organization?
Well, one of the best things to do is to expose your group to different types of trainers and leaders. Because when our age doesn't match with our team, sometimes, and that happens a certain amount of the team, exposing them to other trainers, to other trainings where they can relate more, will make the business easier.
Yeah.
One of the main goals when you build a business is to get as many independent associates in your team, right? Because the minute everyone in your team depends on you, if not everyone relates to you, you're going to miss out on a lot of potential people in your group.
Rightly said.
Because
Yes,
if you are the one who controls everything, if you are the star of your organization, right, and not everyone in that group relates to you or sees you as their mentor or coach or sponsor, you're going to miss out, because they will not be able to be exposed to other people. And that happens in Herbalife a lot, because the minute we start growing in the business, we feel that power, we get
Yes.
that control, we think it's all because of us, and we want to keep our group with us.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
many of those people could have been affected much more by listening to other speakers, other trainings, sometimes because of their personalities, sometimes because of their age,
Yeah.
because of their experience, background. The last thing I want to do is only give my group what I think, what I feel, my experience. I want everyone in our group to be exposed to all type of trainers, because you never know who and which trainer is going to affect them the most.
Yeah, you
Right?
never know. You never know.
Exactly.
That is why we and all the leadership do promote that you go in the events, go attend the meetings. But this is why, because something or one sentence, one word will just trigger
Exactly.
the sleeping giant in you and saying that, oh, this is what I relate to.
And so many characters, so many personalities, we cannot relate to all of them. There's no chance. It's not just the age, it can be background. Sometimes, doctors and scientists join our business.
Yeah.
I hardly finished high school. They cannot relate to me if we talk about education, right?
Right,
But if I expose them to other trainings where there are maybe presidency members that are doctors, that are from different backgrounds, that they can relate,
Sure.
it'll speak to them better. So,
One thing, and that triggered my thought, you mentioned right now, is that because of the organization grows, and sometimes it's rapid or sometimes it's over the years, you have a sense of control. That control can be to the next level when you are saying that you become the so-called
Star.
godly figure or the star, and you think that you are the only one who can make changes. The rest of the them you are dependent on you. it does happen because power really corrupts people. So to make again the earlier question that I asked, that making yourself again sane, saying that it's not because only of you, there are a lot of other people working in the
Exactly.
background. And sometimes it happens that because of you, then I consider that there is a danger or a risk, that is because you are dependent on only one person.
Mm.
So you, what you have done successfully over the years, that you have created many Davids in the organization.
Mm.
So today when we look at the organization, we see the, oh, and even without even they uttering a word, we know which organization they belong to.
Yeah.
So that's the effect that you have given, and that's the training, mentorship over the years that you have given.
Yeah.
So thank you once again,
Yeah, my
David sir.
pleasure.
No, we have some
My
lovely
pleasure.
leadership in your
Yeah, some amazing people. I
organization.
know. I know.
And there were difficult times in India yeah, a few years back, not few years, I think few decades back,
Yeah.
and you were there at that point in time, and
Yes.
there were a handful of leadership then. You would know by them
Yes,
by
of
names
course.
also, because you worked very closely. And I've heard it because I was not there here, but I've heard that you traveled a lot at that point
Yep.
across India and going on the ground and teaching
That's
people.
true.
So how was that
That
experience?
was amazing, actually. That was very humbling as a
Yeah,
global expansion team member
yeah.
to go to cities to teach people who are already in the millionaire team level how to build a business correctly, how to have the
Mm,
right mindset. It wasn't because I was better, it
mm.
was just because I was exposed to more events and trainings. I had more experience in the business.
Sure,
I was a bit
sure.
longer than them in the
Mm,
business. I
mm.
was in front of Mark Hughes. That was a huge advantage. There was
Mm.
even a time where the company recorded a training that I did on those normal cassettes,
Uh-huh.
right? And the cassette was sent all over India to all the TAPTI members,
Wow.
how to have the right mindset in the business, and I was a global expansion team. So, and again, that was a time where my way of thinking went out of control because that was too much
Yeah, too
for a
much.
global expansion team member to be affecting so many people in the country. But
Yeah.
of course, I came back to myself and everything got on track.
So with lot of things that you do, sir, and with your calendar choco block, you so do you get free time sometimes,
Yeah, of
or is there a
course.
concept called free for you?
No, of course, of course. By the way, when I started the business, I had no free time. I
Mm.
already had some hobbies that I loved to do at that time,
Mm.
but some of them I couldn't afford, and some of them I couldn't have the time to do because
Yeah.
it demands time. So as I grew in the business and became a bit more successful, I started pursuing things like that I love to do. For example, traveling. I love traveling
Mm-hmm.
around the world. And
Mm-hmm.
with Herbalife, of course, with Herbalife and without, I mean, traveling is my
Yeah.
biggest, one of my biggest passions.
Yeah.
I love traveling, not just to travel and sightseeing, but experiences.
Mm.
Mark used to talk about this.
Mm.
Life is a collection of experiences.
Yeah, I completely
Going
agree.
to different countries and tasting different cuisines.
Yeah.
Different. Many times I see even people in my team. It's so funny. They travel around the world, but they always eat the same food. I
They
mean,
carry the
that's
food.
I feel bad about it because they are missing out on the opportunity to try
Yeah.
something different.
Different.
Like,
Yes.
why would you want to eat Indian food in a different country? You eat that food every day
Local.
here.
Local
You
cuisine.
go to another country, try something else. It doesn't have to be delicious. Even if you don't like it, you tasted it, it wasn't good. Doesn't matter. You tried it.
You tried it.
One
Yeah.
day, years from now, you'll be sitting somewhere with some friends of yours having a cocktail, and someone will ask, "Have you ever tried this?" And you will say, "Yes, I
I
have."
did. Though I didn't like it,
I
but I
didn't like
did.
it, but I tried it. I mean, that's something you will never forget. So
Mm.
I love that. I love going to other countries, trying different cuisines, going to different places. The whole experience, of course, as a president team, it's different.
Sure.
Because
Sure.
I've traveled before. I joined Herbalife once or twice with family, but everything is budget, budget, budget. It's not the same experience as a president team. So I love traveling around the world. It's one of my biggest passions. Second thing is I love working out and taking care of myself. I love,
Right.
and
Right.
for a few reasons. The first reason I love working out and taking care of myself is because of future. I think
Mm.
about my future because Jim Rohn, our business philosopher, used to talk
Mhm.
about doesn't matter how big your dreams are,
Mm.
how much you want to achieve in life. If your body cannot carry you to achieve those dreams in the future,
Yeah.
you're not going to enjoy life. You're not going to enjoy
Exactly.
those achieving those dreams because you have to have a healthy body
Yeah.
to achieve dreams, to achieve great goals. So I always think about that. I'm still building my business. I'm still growing. I'm still loving what I'm doing. But I know 100%, 5 years from now, I'm going to be in a different place in my business.
Sure.
I'll
Sure.
be able to enjoy much more what I can enjoy today because of achievements, because of the growth, 100%, because I'm still working. But if I don't take care of my health, with all the success in the world, I don't want to be someone who is suffering from health issues because I
Yeah.
didn't take care of my body. And all the money in the world and all the success, that's not going to
Not going to
change.
help.
You can't buy health,
Yeah, you never
right?
can
You
do that.
can't buy fitness. Doesn't matter how much money you have, you can't buy fitness.
Yeah.
You have to go to the gym and work out. If you have money or you don't, you have to work out. You have to sweat. You have to hurt. You have to pay the price.
Yeah.
And that's a challenge for a lot of people. That is why not everyone does it. Because you can buy almost anything else,
Yeah.
but you can't buy fitness.
Not the health,
Yeah,
fitness.
you have to. So I love working out because of the future. Second reason I love working out is because for me it's like therapy. It's like therapy because the minute I start working out, the blood is flowing in my body. I can't think about any challenges, any difficulties that are happening at that moment. I have no worries in my mind. I'm just focused on the workout. I'm listening to the music I love. And at the end of the workout, if it's 1.5 hour, whatever it is, I'm in a different zone
Yeah.
mentally. For the entire day, I'm floating.
Yeah. True.
Everything I'm doing, I'm in a different level. The way I think, the way I respond, even if something negative happens, my response is completely different if I was not after a workout.
Yeah.
It feels amazing. It really does. And like I said before, it's not always fun for me to go to the gym or to go.
Yeah.
I force myself, but I always win going because I know how I'm going to feel when I am in the gym or after.
yeah.
So this is the second thing that I love to do. And the third thing, I've said it so many times, I'll say it for the last time, I love reading.
Yeah.
I love reading. So some days I'll read 1 hour, some days I'll read 3 hours according to my time schedule. But I love reading. And it's not because I'm reading just because I want to increase my business. I'm reading because it increases my understanding and knowledge about so many things to do with things that I'm interested in. Like business, like personal development, management, people's communication, how to communicate with other people, public speaking, how to speak from stage. These are things I'm interested in. I love learning about it. So this is my third thing that I love to do. There are other small things I love to do, like scuba diving, but I do
Whenever
them
you get
less. Yeah,
chance.
exactly.
So
Exactly.
the books that you're reading, sir, you prefer a physical book or something like a
Yeah, I am this old-fashioned guy. I
Yeah.
love the book. I love holding the book in my hand.
yeah.
I mean, I to be honest, I got all the gadgets for it, and I got the apps. I
Sure,
downloaded,
sure.
and I started reading, but I couldn't.
I also did the same.
I need to hold the book. I need to. Hold
I
the
also
book.
did the same because I also read a lot, and I was. Somebody told me that it's easier when you're traveling because you don't carry larger books.
Oh, you listen to it.
No, then I bought a Kindle.
Oh yeah, same
And
here.
I started, but then I was not getting the feeling of reading that book because it was a small thing. And then for me, my habit is that even if I miss something, I go back a little few pages and just see because there are a lot of characters getting introduced in something in say a non-fiction book. But then I also feel like that
I
the
like the physical
hardbound book is
I
the
like
best.
the highlighting the sentences
Yeah.
I like, making the notes. I like that. I even tried audiobooks in the car, right? And I still listen, but I have to have the hard
The
book.
physical book in the hand.
I have this huge collection of books. Many of them I've not read yet, but I read a lot. 2-3 books at the same time.
Yeah,
I love it.
Yeah. How many years in Herbalife, sir?
More than 28 years now.
28
More than
years.
28
So
years,
you're older than what India is.
Yes,
actually.
yes.
You have seen so many things.
Yeah.
28 years, 29 years.
Yeah,
And you've seen a baby going up to
yeah.
a giant now. And you've seen India per se. Now
Of
we have
course.
become number one in the whole world.
Yes.
So that proud feeling that you have because
there.
you were the founders of what India is today. So one that I wanted to understand how that feeling is all about. And the other part of the question is that another next 20 years, what do you see or when you want to visualize Herbalife as a business, what do you see in
First of all, it feels amazing to see India's business today compared to how it started, the challenges in the first 2-3 years. Actually, first 7 years, but 2-3 years was really extreme, the ups and downs.
Yeah.
And then the 7 years, a bit of plateau in the business, people, getting results in the marketplace step by step. And today the results are amazing. I mean, it's unbelievable. Really, it feels good. It feels good personally to know I did the right the right move. I took the right decision, taking that step. And even though I had to be away from my family, away from my comfort zone, I had to give up a lot of things. I had to pay a price,
Yeah,
right? A lot of sacrifice,
I
but it's
understand.
worth it.
Yeah.
That I can say 100%, I have no doubt. By the way, when I came to India, I decided to come for 1 year.
Oh, that was the initial
That was the
period.
end. I'll come for 1 year, recruit as many people as possible, and
Go back.
Go back. And then I saw it doesn't work like that. And then I said 1 more year. I said, okay, 1 more year, and I'm going back. And then 3 years, and then 4 years, and now 25 years. And I'm not thinking about going anywhere, right?
No,
I've
we don't
settled.
want you to go
Yeah,
anywhere.
that's it. So I'm here. But that was the, that's how it started. So I started my business thinking, even especially in India, I started thinking, if one day this can happen. I always remember what Mark used to say, one day India will be number one. It was very difficult to see it in the first 10 years.
Yeah.
Honest, it was difficult to see it.
Absolutely.
Right?
We are nowhere.
Because-
Not even started.
Exactly, because we heard the numbers of other countries that they were doing. How are we going to get there? Even though the numbers in India, population is
Yeah, yeah.
unbelievable, but to see the business going there, but then step by step, when it started picking up, more and more leadership, and that was incredible. And what's happened today? Future, of course, it can be unbelievable. It can. I just feel we have to really take care of the leadership of the country. This is something because leadership is not just a pin or an income,
Right.
or how many volumes we have. It's more about the characters. We need some strong characters, and we need a lot of them because of the size of the business. Whoever now is recognized as a leader in India, it's not enough. We don't have enough people. We need more. We need all the president team members, and we need all the millionaire team members and the global expansion team members to step up
Yeah.
to leadership. Because if we don't have enough of leaders training the thousands and thousands and thousands of associates, after some years, the training system, the education of Herbalife will start to deplete. It'll start going down.
Sure.
This is something we don't want. So this is something that I feel is very important for the next 20 years. We need to make sure that we build a strong enough leadership. So the next 20 years don't only grow, it doubles and triples and even more.
Yeah. The aspirations, obviously, and what even our MD Ajay Khanna and all the senior leadership from the corporate and the senior leadership in the distributors have huge aspirations. And I understand that it is we are looking at 2 billion and 5 billion.
Amazing.
So we were not even thinking of 1 billion a few years back.
Yes.
But now it seems very achievable.
Now we know it can happen.
Because now I think somewhere we have cracked the code. Now the intensity and the work has to increase.
Yes.
And you rightly said that along with the work, our personality, the leadership qualities, and all the other things also have to simultaneously grow.
Very important.
So then we create a fort, which is like unbeatable fort. For
because
India.
as we grow, more resistance will happen. Because we are not alone in the marketplace.
Yeah.
We are not alone.
Yeah,
Right?
sure,
So people are watching us. People are keeping an eye. The minute other companies, other competitors, even though we are number one, will notice, okay, the leadership of this company is not that strong. The leaders here, they're making a lot of money. Yes, they're growing. The business is growing, is great. But there are no strong personalities, characters that are holding that entire business of that country. It can be dangerous. So that's something we have to take care of now. We need to make sure.
So what message I take is the more of vulnerability of the house that you are creating. So the more secured you will feel when you have more great leadership in the country. That is what the message that I take from this.
I always used to say this when we started building the business. I learned this because it's the reason I joined Herbalife. I joined this company not because I believed I could do it. I didn't join the company because I understood the marketing plan or I understood the products. I did not. The only reason I joined this company was because I understood the concept. I understood that I can introduce people who can be better than me. I can introduce people who can do things I can't do. I can introduce people who can speak languages I don't speak. And if they do well, company is going to pay me. This is the reason I joined. So when I joined the business and I started working, I wanted to create a walk-away business. Walk-away business means that if I walk away one day, after there is a solid business,
still there.
if I walk away, it will not affect my business in any way. It will continue growing. Leaders will continue flourishing. If I'm there or not there, it makes no difference. That's the magic of royalty, real royalties.
Yeah.
If you have to be in your business for the business to work,
then
that's
then
not
maybe
walk
we can
away.
call then maybe we can call that as a commission,
Exactly.
just to have enough fun way. But then the royalty, the pure definition of royalties,
Yes,
as you rightly said,
exactly.
walk away business.
Walk away.
You are not there, but you're still earning the money.
Exactly, exactly.
So, so great, David sir. One last request:
Sure.
if you have to give any message to our all the viewers today, anything that you have in your mind today.
Yeah, maybe 2 or 3 points. One point is whatever we do, let's do it right.
Sure.
Let's focus on doing it right. Shortcuts always have some kind of negative results at the end of the day. Let's do it right. So if we are new associates, new supervisors in the business, let's focus on doing it the right way. With the right way, this company became number one in the world. So if that can happen and make a company number one in the world, doing it the right way is worth it.
Sure.
Second thing I recommend, never compare with others. Don't compare. One of the biggest frustrations I see in supervisors, in associates, especially people who are moving up in the business a bit, is frustration when their business is not growing like someone else's.
Yeah.
With all the success stories, so many new qualifiers, and why is it happening to me? Why is it happening to them and not to me? So people need to understand, everyone needs to understand, we're all different people. We have different personalities, different characters. We come from different circumstances, right? We have different goals, different dreams. We have different challenges we go through.
Sure.
What you see on the face of someone when they come on stage, you don't know what is happening behind.
Absolutely.
You don't know. Someone is doing very well in the business and personal life. Maybe they have some challenges.
Sure.
And you see someone that is having a great personal life, and everyone has their own circumstances.
Right.
And we have to respect it. When someone does well, we have to be happy for them. We have to congratulate them. We have to get inspired. But do your best not to compare, because you can't compare. There's
Yeah.
only one you.
Compare with yourself.
Yeah, there's only one you.
I have
There's
to
only
better
one.
myself.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's the. And I did this. I compared myself for many years, especially in the beginning of the business.
Sure.
Every time I was lacking in growth, and I saw someone else, I felt bad. I said, "Why is it happening? Why is it happening to them, not to me? They must be doing something wrong. They must be. That's why they're moving ahead in the business.
Yeah,
But it doesn't work like that.
Yeah.
And some people are willing to work harder than us.
Yes. Yeah.
Accept it. I mean, how many Bill Gates there are in the world? I mean, there's one, right?
Absolutely.
So there are going to be, even in Herbalife, people who will be willing to work harder than you.
Sure.
People who will be willing to pay a bigger price than you are paying. So they're going to move faster than you in the business.
Sure.
You do your best to make your journey worthwhile. This is, my best tip I can give to a lot of frustrated supervisors, world team and above in the business from my side.
So great, sir. David, sir, thank you for taking your time out
My
today.
pleasure.
It was a roller coaster ride. A lot of new things I have learned personally, and I'm sure my audience and all the people watching today have learned, or they have seen a new David today.
Oh, great. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. Go out there, change people's life, live your best life, and keep watching Make Your Mark. Thank you. Bye.